Let's go over snakes and ladders in online Playful math. The objective of the game is to reach the end of the game board, which is done by progressing through the numbered spaces scattered throughout. Begin by having your students place their game pieces in front of square number 1. The first student will spin the 2 spinners and find the sum, difference, product, or quotient of the 2 numbers, and then they will progress their game piece forward by that amount. You can decide on what operations are allowed based on the comfort and skill level of your students. Let's go over an example of this using addition. I'll use the orange piece. So first we'll spin the 2 spinners. So we spun a 1 and a 5, adding that together gets us 6. So we'll move our game piece 6 spaces forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Note that we landed at the bottom of a ladder. If a student lands at the bottom of a ladder, they move up the ladder. If they land at the top of a snake, they move to the bottom of the snake. In this case, we move our game piece up to 15, and that finishes our turn. If the student's value moves them past the final square, they can advance their game piece forward but will eventually bounce off of the final square and start moving backwards to account for the remaining spaces. Let's go over an example of this. Let's say in this scenario we are orange and we are on square 48. And let's say we've already spun a 6 and a 2. We can do 6 minus 2 to get 4, and moving our piece would look like the following. 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's how we would bounce off the final square. Now let's go over a scenario where you can generate discussion with your students. In this scenario, let's say your students spun a 3 and a 3, and let's say they are the orange piece. The immediate thought may be to multiply the 3 and 3 to get 9 and to move their game piece all the way over here. However, there is a better move with a different operation. As the instructor, we could prompt the student to try addition instead to see where that takes them. In this case, if the student were to use addition, they would get 3 plus 3, which is 6. They would move their game piece to the space over here, which is the bottom of a ladder, which then takes them up to square 15 as their final spot, which is obviously better than square 9.